And I had seen so many other women around me, you being one of them, that were doing things in a better way. And I was like, wait a second, if they can do it that way, then why can't I? What makes me any different?
Welcome, Badass Manifester. I am so glad you are here. I'm your host, Ashley Gordon, master mindset and manifestation biz coach and multiple six-figure entrepreneur obsessed with empowering you to create quantum leaps in your energy, your life, and your business. Together, we'll make magic your everyday normal, bringing you the highest vibrational content to power your conscious and subconscious mind with manifestation and mindset tools, teachings, and experts to put your potential into action. Consider this your weekly up level. Here's to quantum transformation, baby. Say it with me. Let's do this. What's up, Badass Manifester fam? Welcome back to another episode of the Badass Manifester podcast. I don't know what that was. I'm just in a silly mood today. But I hope that you're having an amazing day or night whenever you're listening to this. I'm so excited for today's episode. I am bringing on such a light, such a goddess. Her name is Ava Johanna, and our conversation is all about being in the divine feminine flow of your business and your life. And she is actually a divine feminine business coach, and she shows entrepreneurs how to awaken their inner guru and achieve soul expansive six-figure success. That's just so beautiful. She's just amazing. I'm loving her energy, her Instagram. Go follow her at Ava Johanna, AvaJohanna, and you will be so happy that you did. And I'm actually on her show, her amazing podcast called The Alchemized Life podcast, and she's just incredible. I'm so excited to jam out with her. So listen to this and then hop over to her show, listen to our interview together. Make sure you share with us your biggest takeaways on Instagram and tag us, and we will shout you out. I know you're going to absolutely love today's episode. You're going to love Ava. And before we dive in, I just want to say, oh my God, there's officially 3 spots left in the Quantum Coaching Academy. If you are thinking about joining and you want to be a certified coach and learn how to change lives, learn the skills and the tools to help change people's lives, make sure you email me today, because spots are going, they might even already be full by this time. So email me, and if so, I will get you on the list for 2021. And I just want to give a shout out to Micah, because she says that she has been listening to the podcast for quite some time, and she actually just enrolled into QCA, and I just wanted to shout her out, make her feel special, and just say thank you to her for listening and for just always working on herself and having the mission that she does to help others. So, hey girl, hey. All right. Without further ado, here's today's episode. I'm so excited to have you today on the podcast.
I know.
You're such a light. You're just beaming.
Oh my God. And you're such a light too. I'm so happy that you're going to be on my podcast as well, because it's just like the more that we can be one in community with each other and really like just be this like beacon of light for women that are entering this industry, whether it's like literally just people interested in personal development and spirituality and manifestation and like just like first hitting play for the first time, the more that we can connect with each other and like build a community around these practices. I really think that like we're changing the world right now, because it's just a ripple effect, you know?
Amen to that on so many levels. And one of my favorite things about the podcast is that I get to connect with light workers and healers and coaches and leaders. It's just so incredible to be in connection the way that we are through this platform, and sharing our gifts and voice is just, yeah, it's just a big ripple. And that's really what I live for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that someone told me probably about a year ago, I would say, is that every single time someone comes on their podcast, they look at it as an opportunity for mentorship. And I was like, that's
Mm.
so cool. It's so true. Because if you think about all of the people that are coming on your podcast and come on my podcast too, I'm like, wow, this is really cool that I get to sit down with you for an hour and just pick your brain. And it really shifted my perspective around the podcast too. And I got a little bit selfish after that point forward because I'm like, all right, now I'm going to ask my questions too and not just look at it from like, what is it that my audience wants to hear? And I think that that's also why people are really attracted to it, because it's less for just like the expectation of what you think people wants and just more like way more intuitive, way more like the universal messages that need to come out.
Oh my God. Yes. 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 I mean, even when I first started, I would get, in my head of like, well, what question should I ask? And like, how does it work? And, what do they want to hear? But ultimately, like when we lead from curiosity and truly kind of just being guided in the session, the universal messages comes out for everyone that's listening. So good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. So share a little bit about I know you're a yogi, you do a lot of different things. So share a little bit about like how you broke into this and how you even found online business.
Yeah, girl. So I actually started an online business before I was in the wellness space. I was a digital marketing queen, self proclaimed, and I helped launch a marketing agency at the San Diego Reader, which is kind of like an alternative weekly news publication. So it's like the free magazines that are outside of Vaughn's or something like that. They wanted to launch a digital agency because no one was, pulling for print anymore, and advertisers didn't want to pay for print advertisements. And so I helped the company launch their digital agency. I did social media, website design, graphic design, branding. I had a job once where I named multifamily apartment complexes, which was so fun, but terrible on my mental health. And so that was kind of like where I started, which I feel very, very grateful for, because at a certain point when I was doing social media for like lawyers and car audio shops in San Diego, I was like, this is so boring. I'm learning all of these skills for other businesses. Why am I not just doing this for myself? And I think once I asked that question, I was like, oh, I'm going to start a blog. I'm going to start an Instagram. And that was at the same time that I started practicing yoga. And then the cool thing about like the yoga community on Instagram is that people are always running yoga challenges where you like do a pose and like post your photo. And so my account started growing really quickly because I got involved in all of these yoga challenges. And it was really fun because it was the first time that I was on social media and people were like kind and nice. And it was such a breath of fresh air. And at that point, I was like, I'm just going to run with this and see what can happen. And to be honest, when I first started, I was like, I would love a pair of aloe leggings for free. And that was like my only goal. And then as time progressed, I was like, well, I actually have a really unique set of skills, knowing how to market myself, knowing how to brand myself, knowing how to build a website, how to send an email. I was surprised at how many people like have no email etiquette, and realized that I could offer these tools for a lot of women that had such heart and like passion for what they were sharing, but zero idea how to do the business side of things. And I just kind of ran with it from that point on. And there were many iterations of me going back and forth between I'm going to do my own thing and I'm going to help support other women. But I realized that the more that I started doing my own thing, which was teaching for studios or working with brands, I felt less and less fulfilled. And anytime I was able to support someone in helping them find their voice and just hear from them, like, hey, I just booked my first event and I'm getting paid this much. This is crazy. I would have done it for free. The more that I heard stories like that from the women that I was working with, the more that I just knew that that was the work that I needed to do, and that being in service felt so much more true and fulfilling than being in self service.
Wow, that's awesome. And it's so cool to look back and to be like, wow, the universe and my guides really set me up for this. You were set
Mm-hmm.
up, you know, like getting all of
Yeah.
that experience. It just all kind of it just fills in. It just fills in.
Yeah.
Finding your purpose and service to others is like the icing on the cake, really. So cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, back when I was working those jobs, I was very much in the mentality of why is this happening to me? Why am I working
Mhm.
10 to 12-hour days? Why do I have migraines every other week? Am I so hungover every Saturday and Sunday and sometimes Monday?
I
And
remember those thoughts too.
yeah,
For
yeah. And, I remember like really vividly, I was sobbing in the shower praying, not really even praying, but more just like exclaiming, like, if there is a God, why is this all happening to me? Why do I feel like I'm constantly at rock bottom? And the beauty of going on this journey and doing this work is that I know now exactly why all of that was not happening to me, but happening for me.
Mhm.
And I did this exercise with a coach that I used to work with where she had me write down for as far back as I could remember all of the synchronicities in my life, all of the negative things that have happened or the positive things that had happened that had ultimately led me to where I'm at now. And it was such a beautiful reminder that even when we're going through the shit, there's a reason for it. And if we can remind ourselves of that in the shit, then it makes it a lot easier to move through it. And we just have this expansive energy that often allows us to move through it faster and really see the gifts in it, even when we don't know exactly what the gift is.
Oh, so beautifully said. And it's easier said than done at times, for sure. We both know that. But at the end of the day, it is the truth. I love that exercise that that your past coach told you to do. It's so good. And I remember recently, like right after New Year's, like the day after, I got hit with this purge. It was coming out of all ends. And one of my spiritual besties wrote me and she's like, "This is happening for you, just so you know." I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
always happening
Yeah.
for you. Always."
Oh yeah, I think a lot of us got hit with that too. At like for me it was like mid-October
Oh my
through January, and it was rough. It was really really rough, but I kept reminding myself this is an opportunity for growth, and
God.
regardless of how far I go down, I know that on the other side I'm going to have grown so much from this experience. And I was getting hit in my relationship and my business, like things were getting shut away from me, and I was letting go of things that I did not think, like I thought that they were sturdy foundations. And actually, it's really funny because a week before all of this happened, I was sitting with Tiffany, my podcast manager, and I was like, for the first time, I feel good. I don't feel like anything needs to change. And then, of course, it's like a few days later, the universe is like, funny you say that. So, yeah, I think a lot of us got hit with that. And it is hard. It is really hard. But it's having those reminders, having those spiritual besties around us that keeps us like vibrating high, or at least vibrating at like a content stage where we're like, okay, I know that this sucks right now, but this is an opportunity for growth. And damn, I'm going to come out on the other side so much more stronger, so much more wiser, and so much more capable of
Mm.
whatever gets thrown at me next.
I love that word, capable. I proved in 2019 that I am capable. I am capable of
Yes.
creating massive success. So now it's like, okay, who am I without having to prove that to myself, you know? Totally
Mm-hmm.
separate conversation, but like, yeah, you're right. It does help you with all of those things. So I know that you are, like, we were talking a little bit before about bringing your feminine energy into your business. Like, what has your business journey been like, as far as like, you know, going hard and doing and hustling, and versus finding that alignment and that flow? What has that kind of been like for you? Because I know a lot of people are in that hustle.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to start out in the feminine because
Mhm.
everything around us shows us that hustle is the way to success. Hustle culture is a real thing, and it was really destructive for me. I working in my marketing job was in that hustle culture, and so that's really like where I grew up. My first ever marketing job was at a startup, and so if you want to talk about hustle, it's like that's you hustle there. I had 5 million different hats. There was 3 of us on the team, and that's kind of like where I was like born into entrepreneurship. And while I'm grateful for it because it taught me how to show up and hold myself accountable, it also taught me a lot of really destructive habits of like not leaving my desk for lunch or not having any boundaries with my inbox. or saying yes to every single opportunity that came in because I had fears that that might be the last opportunity, which I know probably resonates with a lot of people that are listening.
Mm.
Um, and it finally got to the point was where I was just sick of my own shit. Honestly, I was tired and I was done like operating from that place. I think I realized that there is no end point. There is no like destination here. And so if I'm just miserable the entire time, if I feel like I'm not enough the entire time, if I'm shooting all over myself and comparing myself to other people the entire time, that's all that it's ever going to be. And I had seen so many other women around me, you being one of them, that were doing things in a better way. And I was like, wait a second. If they can do it that way, then why can't I? What makes me any different? There are so many different ways to build a business. And I had been choosing one path of like the hustle, the masculine, the take action, do, 5 million steps, but I don't know which one is actually working for so long. And it wasn't fulfilling me in the way that I wanted it to. So I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try something new and see if this works because it's working for other people. So maybe it'll work for me too. At that same time, I hired a coach because I knew that if I wanted to do things differently, I needed someone to support me and really being able to trust and have faith in myself and hold me accountable for not defaulting to those behavioral patterns and those habitual thoughts that and mindsets that I had been operating from for so long. And so I have to say like that was a huge support on me to be able
Mhm.
to start to like look at business from the more feminine energy, to be more reflective, to be more intuitive, to take time every day to show up for myself, my mental health, my emotional health and my spiritual health before jumping into my work. And what I found from that was that I mean your intuition, holy shit. Like
Right?
using your intuition in business is the most beautiful gift that you can give yourself and it really doesn't take a lot of time or a
I
lot
want
of
to talk
work.
about this. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so with you on this. Wait,
Yeah.
when I actually was reading your post about like how you were, you tried all these courses and then you went in for the coach and like that was the one thing that like changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I've hired multiple coaches. So
for sure.
I'm working with my third coach right now. And it was the scariest investment because it was 5 figures and it was a lot. I didn't have the money. But I went in with the intention that it was going to change my life. I went in with the intention that through working with her, I was going to really learn the tools and not the strategies, but the tools necessary for me to show up and be able to forge my own unique path. I wasn't going to her to learn her exact strategy and how she set up her funnels and her website and all of that stuff. I was going to her with the intention of making like energetic shifts in my life and in myself and in my mindset. And within the first 4 weeks of me working with her, I had already made back my investment. And I had never made that much money in a month. I had never made 6 figures. And it was the coolest thing to know that when you really show up for yourself, when you invest in yourself, and when you also have like a very strong intention and why, that
Mhm.
you can do anything. You can do absolutely anything.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. It's so great. Like, see, this is like the universe working because even just yesterday, I was taking me time. I was in infrared sauna and I just had that thought come up. I was meditating and I was just like, you can do anything. You can do anything. Like, we really, truly can.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Sounds
wild.
so like big, but I'm so with you right now on that wavelength. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I just look back at like how much I've accomplished in the past 5 years
Hmm.
that were things that I was like, maybe I'll do it. I don't know. Like these seem like really, really big goals, but I did it. And now I'm even more excited because now I'm doing it with a feminine approach and not just like hustling to bring all of these things to me, but instead like kind of setting myself up to receive and sit back and be like, all right, now you guys come to me. Let's do this.
Yes. Yes. Are you incorporating human design into your feminine like workflow? Does that have anything to do with it?
I mean, I wish that I understood human design more.
Yeah.
I'm a projector, and so I always have that running in the back of my mind where I'm like, okay, I only need to work like a couple hours today. And then I also have the other side of like, oh, I can't really pitch myself for podcasts or things like that. So people have to like come to me. So it's like a kind of like a running program in the back of my mind, but
Yeah.
I wish that I knew about it. I need to do like a human design reading. So I'm like
Mhm.
fully aware of my unique human design and how I can use that in my business. But I have had someone on my podcast that I kind of was selfish and asked her a lot of questions about projectors. Are you a
Yes.
projector?
I'm not. I'm a generator.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Work, work, work,
So
work, work.
yeah. So yeah, that was like really interesting to me, but I it's all intuitive for me now,
Yeah.
you know, and I know that we're going to dive into this probably right now, but it's very, very intuitive. Every single day looks different. I know that I start each day at a certain point before I meditate or before I jump into my work with a meditation practice. But other than that, I just like, I'm a leaf in the river and I just let the day go based off of what I'm feeling, what comes up for me, and allow it to be guided in that way versus so rigid and strict like I used to.
So can give me a comparison of like old Ava, like feminine Ava now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So, very similar to like my Instagram post, old Ava would go and watch like a webinar in the morning,
Right.
likely buy the course and be like, hell yeah, this woman's course is all about setting up a webinar and making six figures off of your first launch, and like would go in and do the exact steps but not really like tune into like my why behind it.
Mhm.
And then spend the entire day just like working, output, output, output. But never really connect to like why I was doing any of it. It was very like surface level, egoic, and just like action based of what's the next thing that I can do. And when I would finish something or if I didn't get something done, I would have so much guilt around not being productive enough. I would go on Instagram and I would look at what everyone else is doing and be like, oh my gosh, I need to do that.
Mhm.
Or I'm not doing that. So I'm a failure, or I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. She's better than me. And that was my baseline for 4.5 years. And it was exhausting and I was drained. And I thought I had a healthy relationship with social media, but I didn't, because every single time I would see like a girlfriend or something that would do something big, I would celebrate her. But then I would be like, how can I do that too? Because if she's doing that, then that must be the way for me to be successful. And I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with at least a little piece of that because it's so common. And now, instead of turning my attention outward to what is it that they're doing that I can do to adapt into my business to be successful, I start every single day with my meditation, asking how I can be of service, connecting to the next level version of myself, how she makes people feel, how she thinks, how she acts, how she speaks before I do anything else. And every single time that I go on social media and see someone doing something or listen to a podcast, I check in with myself and ask, is this true for me? Is this something that feels good for me? Or is this advice or something being shown to me that is not actually meant for me? And I do this work with my clients too, because I get like a lot of downloads when I'm working with my clients, and I'll be like, ooh, here's an idea of something you can
Yeah.
do. And whenever they respond back and they're like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm like, but wait a second, feel it in your body, close your eyes, feel it, ask yourself, like, if you can see this coming to fruition, this idea, how does it feel in your body? Is it a yes or is it a no? Because I want, from the work that me and my clients do together, just like the work that I do with my coach and the work that I do on my own, for them to connect to their intuition and use every single opportunity, every single idea as a mechanism for deepening their relationship with their intuition. And I think initially what I had done in the past was, if anyone gave me an idea, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll run with it. Or anytime I'd have an idea, I would ask someone, is this a good idea? And that never strengthened my intuition. It had me doubt myself and question myself. And so now I kind of like keep things to me for the most part until they start getting built bigger and bigger, because it just allows me to be in like a constant conversation with my intuition and use that, again, like I said, just to guide me throughout the day, throughout projects, throughout any opportunities that come up, and really focus on how the things make me feel.
Wow, blown away. That's incredible, and there's so much to unpack there. First of all, it's like I love that you tune into yourself when it sounds like you have way more awareness and there's way more self-inquiry when it comes to like your beingness while you're doing, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you're really inquiring within and figuring out whether or not this is in true alignment and in service to you, but also to the higher good.
Mm-hmm.
And then also incorporating that into your clients, like that's so powerful. I also get a lot of downloads and I give the information, but like you're right. You want to make sure that it's right for them because as a coach, I teach and preach that, I don't want to give you any answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have all the answers, but there is that element of brainstorming that comes in, but making sure that it's true for them is like so powerful. I love that so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I first started my coaching program, I was very like strategic, and I used all of my background in marketing and, website development to support them in like building their strategies and their systems. And now the work that I do is totally different because I really do want them by the end of our time working together to feel confident and empowered and doing the damn thing on their own.
Yeah.
And, the website's important, the strategy is important, but all of the other stuff is way more important. The confidence, the value, the worthiness, the excitement around what you're offering, all of that supersedes the strategy of, building an online business.
Mm, it's so true. It is so true. I mean, and I say this frequently of like, well, what's the difference between someone like there is no difference between two people that are, putting themselves out there online. Like one person could be making X amount of dollars and one person could be, not even hitting 5-figure months or 5K months yet. But what's the difference? The difference to me is the energy behind it. It's
Yeah.
all the energy behind it. They can have beautiful websites, beautiful sales pages, beautiful copy, like, but if the energy is not there, then that's what is missing. That is the key. That is the link.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that we are so well attuned, like our bullshit sniffers are so well
Oh
attuned
yeah.
now as customers,
Mm-hmm.
that when we go online and we see somebody talking and they're, because we're all kind of sharing the same stuff. It's
Right.
not like anyone is like, besides Dave Asprey, who's like biohacking his way to living forever, we're all kind of sharing the same stuff, but it's our story and it's the excitement that we bring to the table. It's connecting to your heart that really makes people pay attention. And like I don't even have sales pages for my group coaching program that I have
Awesome.
coming up. I literally just have an application for it because, sometimes people can even get into their heads with a sales page when they're going down it because we've seen all the sales pages that all look very similar. And so for me, I'm like, I just want people to connect to my energy, and then we can talk about what is included in this program. We can talk about what it's like to work with me. But I think that that goes back to, and I'm probably rambling a little bit, but that kind of goes back to the strategies of like what other people are doing and thinking that we need to have the sales page, we need to have the email chains or whatever they're called. I can't even
Yeah.
remember what they're called anymore, but we need to have all of these things in order to have a successful launch. And it's like, no, you don't. You actually get to choose. You get to choose what you want, and you get to do it your way. As long as you believe in it and as long as you're excited about it, there's no way that you can go wrong.
What a relief, right? Like what
Oh
a
yeah.
freaking relief. I mean, it's so funny. Like I just launched my mastermind, no sales page, no emails, no nada, nada. Testimonials from the last round of people that were super hyped because they just got out of it and me sharing about it for 2 weeks, sold out. My other launch, sales page, emails, this, that, this, that. It was so much, it felt harder. It felt draining. And it didn't even bring in the same amount of money that the mastermind brought in. So it just goes to show you that like it can be easy and you make up the rules.
Yeah, Exactly. And you know, it's so funny because I think that we get to a point when we've put so much energy and love into building the sales page and
Yeah,
the automated emails and all of those things that by the time we actually get to promoting it, we're like, I'm friggin' drained.
I'm
Like I'm
done.
tired. I don't even want to talk about this thing anymore. And so if we can
Is this
skip,
thing even good?
yeah, exactly, exactly. And if we can skip that whole like devoting so much energy into building something and then instead funnel that into when we talk about the thing, when we connect people with people, gosh, I mean, it's just it's so much easier, like you said, you know. And that's not to say that you don't need to have a sales page, or you can have all of those things too, but just come back to check in with yourself. Are you doing this because you think you should do it, or are you doing this because you're really excited to have a beautiful page laid out with like all of the like bells and whistles that your program offers?
Mm, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And that just goes to show you that there is not one way to build a business. There
Yeah.
is not like a cookie cutter method that I think a lot of people are looking for. And, you know, it's just interesting because when people are in that mindset, and I've been in that mindset before, it it's really limiting. It's really, really limiting as opposed to just being like, yeah, you can have it your way, right? Like you can have it any way that you want it as long as your energy's right. And on that note, the best compliments that I get are when people say, I love your energy, as opposed to
Mhm.
like, I love your graphics. Okay, great. You can hire a graphic designer, but like
Yeah.
your energy is it. That's what people are also like paying for and they want to be with and they want to learn from. Like you can learn so much more from energy than you can from this is how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to add to that, what I noticed is that anytime that I bought like the course or like the cookie cutter step by step strategy, if it didn't work, I started questioning myself and my value
Mm,
immediately. And I was like, oh, well, this must not be good. I must not have any value. People must not really care about what I have to say. And if that's like what those things are causing you, like the state that those things are causing you to be in, gosh, like cut that shit out now, and like come back to the excitement that you have around your offer and the end result. Like I always tell my clients when they're building out programs and new offers, get in the energy of the end result of your clients.
mhm.
Like what is the transformation? I want you to sit down and journal out as if you were one of your clients how incredible it is to be finishing up your course or your program,
Love
and
that.
really get into that energy. Because again, like you said, like that's the energy that is so important and what really allows us to connect to our value and be in that state of like serving from excitement, serving from that energy. um it's interesting because I've noticed that there's a lot of people online that will like hold back from sharing, and I'm like, I do not withhold anything. Like I share strategies, I share exercises that I share with my clients, but the difference is that like it's not that there's nothing more to talk about with my clients when they sign
Mhm.
up for a program with me. It's that the container that we're creating together, the energy that goes into it, is so much more robust and expansive than just, watching an Instagram TV video or something like that. And I think that a lot of coaches get into the habit of, oh, I can't share everything. Like I can't share the cow and the milk.
Yeah,
And I'm like, no, that's lack and that's scarcity, because you are so
right.
much more valuable than just your information.
Totally, totally. Like I had feedback recently on my last challenge that I did, and someone said, I think you gave too much away. And I'm like, I did not feel that way at all,
Right.
because I'm just like, no, I'm showing, like, I'm giving them all I've got. And I'm always going to do that, whether you're watching me on Instagram, whether you are, in my Facebook, whatever, wherever you are, I'm going to give you all I've got. And
Hmm.
I believe that that's really what makes the difference. Like, I want people to know what they're getting, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then they know that you care, that
I
you
do.
really
I care so
care.
much. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just about the money. It's like
Right.
truly about being in service.
How do you feel about sharing money on social? Do you share your numbers? How do you feel about that?
I am going to share my numbers at the end of this year. So this past year 2019 has been a smorgasbord of coaching, podcasting, teaching in studios, teaching events. And so it wasn't until the beginning of 2020 that I let go of all of my studio classes
Mm,
and I'm focusing solely on my business, Ava Johanna LLC, which is my retreats, my podcast, and my coaching.
yeah.
And at the end of 2020, I'm going to share the final numbers for the year. I think the reason being for that is that I want it to be very, very clear of what's possible from like the coaching perspective and the podcasting perspective, and just like having your own thing versus it being kind of like muddied with other different pieces of work and opportunities. Does that make sense?
No, completely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I was meaning like also from an energetic standpoint, like, sometimes I have weird feelings about like, should I share that? Like, obviously I want to show people what's possible. And I
Mm-hmm.
have some of my clients who are like, I've hired you because you've simply shared like how much money you've brought in 1 month from your business, because that's really
Yeah.
inspiring to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels weird, right? Like we're all spiritual and yet like we also have a business.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've never really felt weird about sharing how much money that I make. And I've also been in the position where like I've been really excited telling my dad or my stepmom how much money I've made from like one thing. And then afterwards been like, maybe I shouldn't have shared that with them. Like maybe is it unladylike of me to share how much money, or is it like being braggadocious of me
Yeah.
to share how much money? But I've always just been really excited about making money. And I don't know if you know this, but at 16, I was homeless. My mom, my sister, and I were homeless. And so coming from not having anything to having a six-figure business is fucking
Yeah.
huge.
Huge.
And I really do want to share that anything is possible. Like you can literally start with no house, no car, on food stamps and build, like anything is possible, like you said, you
Yeah,
know?
it really, really is. Wow, that's unreal. Like that gives me a whole new perspective on it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Because
Wow.
if you are embodying the practices, the energy and the success, then every single person that sees you, it's going to be like a light and mosquitoes. Like these people are mosquitoes coming up, and then they start embodying it because they're like, fuck yeah, I want what she's having. And then they inspire more people. And like I said
Yeah.
at this conversation is so full circle,
Ripple.
but like we said at the beginning, it's just this ripple effect. And that's what I want. I want more spiritual besties. That's like
Yeah.
that's my selfish reason for the work that I'm doing. So a bunch of like-minded people out there.
Oh my God, it's so true. So true. I love that. And so when you started really implementing some of these like feminine practices and like letting go of that masculine energy, obviously it's always going to be part of us. You were like, everything started to blow up, like my business started to blow up. Like what are some of the things that our listeners can kind of implement right now to give them that feeling or that embodiment practice?
Yes. Okay. So, one, the biggest thing is get into service every single day. So, ask yourself, if you don't have a meditation practice, start meditating. I am like the person that will tell you like you need to meditate. I don't pussyfoot around it.
Yeah.
But meditate every single morning, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Close your eyes, ask how you can be of service. If something doesn't come up for the first 5 days, still afterwards take some time to journal about whatever you experienced in your meditation practice, even if you weren't given some download from the universe or about something to share. But show up consistently, meditate, ask in your meditation how you can be of service. And then for me, it's then sharing whatever those messages are on my social media or in an Instagram TV, which I guess is still social media, or on the podcast. And the excuse that I get the most often from people is I don't feel confident showing up on Instagram stories. Like I'm not ready to do it yet because I'm working with a lot of like baby coaches
Sure.
and people that are more new to showing up in this fashion. And I asked them, okay, well, what are your excuses? And for me, my excuses were I feel a little frumpy and I don't know what to say. And so the journaling takes care of the I don't know what to say because
Yep.
it helps you get really clear on what you want to share. And then I do my makeup every day. I put on a cute outfit every day and I
Yep.
just like I start feeling myself and I'm like, all right, cool. Like now I'm going to show up. And so that's more of like I would say that that's actually more of like a masculine, like action oriented tip, but it really is this dance between the masculine and the feminine. But getting into service and opening your heart towards the possibilities of like what it means for you to embody the next level version of your business. So again, how would she act? What does she think about money, about success? When someone says no to that next level version of yourself, what is her response? Does that make her waver or question her value, or does she know she's a badass regardless if someone says no? Does she know that if someone says no, it's actually protection for her? And really getting into the energy and the embodiment of your future self or that next level version of yourself right here and right now.
Living from that end result. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So powerful. So powerful. And so, what is the next level version of you?
Okay. Well, you know what's so fun? I led a VIP immersion in Santa Barbara 2 weekends ago, and that was
That
my
sounds
first retreat
fun.
of the year. It
Awesome.
was really fun. It was at the Hotel Californian, which is just like abundance vibes like no other.
Oh,
Um, but so when I first did this exercise in December for 2020, I envisioned Ava 2.0, as I call her, in a pair of like white pants, like sparkly sequined long sleeve top, um, super, super fashionable. And 2 weekends ago, I was shopping for my outfit that I was going to wear for the day, and
I
I got
saw the
the
picture.
outfit.
I saw your
Yes.
picture. That's amazing.
So it was really fun to like also realize that time isn't real, and we can envision our next level self, and it can come to us like 4 weeks later. So I just want to throw that little pin in there. But
Yes.
my next level self is feminine. She's intuitive. She's humble. She is operating from a place of fluidity where things aren't so rigid and strict and controlled. She is gracious with every single person that she meets. She's inspiring. She's the light that walks into every single room. And so, for those of you that are listening, these are all like energetic qualities. You know, these are all
Internal.
qualities. They're all internal, and they're also ways that I want people to view me as well. And if you do this exercise, even though I did like put an outfit on her because I think that that's like a really special practice, she also has a scent that I put
Oh.
on every single morning just to like trigger my sensory my
What's your
senses
scent?
into
I have to know what your scent is.
it's Le Labo Noir.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of it, but
It's
it sounds
it's
beautiful.
really good. It's funny because it's like really expensive perfume that I wouldn't even buy perfume this expensive even if I had all the money in the world because it's silly. But Costco had their lotion on sale, and I was like,
Ooh.
"Oh, okay."
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, so finding a scent, like what is your next level self scent that she wears? And my coach gave this to me, gave me this exercise. And so I just keep it by my bed. And every morning when I wake up, I put some on my hands and my palms and I take a couple deep breaths in. So I'm like triggering that next level version of myself.
Yes, it's like anchoring it to you to be able to step
Exactly.
into that for the day. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
You guys,
Exactly.
such
Exactly.
nuggets here. Such good information. I love it.
Yeah,
I love
yeah, and it's like the thing that I want to share about this is that I do this every single morning. Like I put on my next level self every single morning. This is not just like a one and done practice. We show
that.
up every single day and we embody her. That's how we become her.
Yes. Oh my God. Wow. Absolutely love that. In one of my courses, of course, we talk about this, and I loved this concept that one of my clients put together, which she said her next level self, her name is Grace. And she has a mat. It's like a welcome mat for your house, but she has it in front of her standing mirror and it says Grace on it. So she literally steps on her mat and she looks in the mirror and she like has this whole thing go on with her energy where she's like, I am Grace.
Mm,
I was like, I love that because she's literally stepping into it. So find a practice that works for you to be able to embody this. But as Ava mentioned, every single day.
yeah, I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. And I always ask what makes you a badass manifester, but I feel like that's what makes you a badass manifester. But you answer that however you want.
Ooh, what makes me a badass manifester? I'm unapologetic about my manifestations and I call them out the moment that they come to me. And every single time that I go out with my friends, I ask them, what do you want to manifest tonight? And then I make it happen. And so I like, I am a no BS badass manifester. Like, I am unapologetic in what I want and I go after it. Now I go after it with a much more feminine approach.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think manifestation is so much fun and I'm not scared to ask for things anymore. And I just love having that energy because it just like, it really empowers me.
It's safe for you to have it all. It really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing your light with us, your beauty, your wisdom, all of it. It's just so, so awesome. So I know everyone's going to love it. And make sure that you tag us. So where can they find you? How can people connect with you?
Yeah. So my Instagram is at Ava Johanna and then my website is avajohanna.com.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you so
Me
much for
too.
being here. I really appreciate it. I know everyone else
Yes.
does too. Yeah.
Thank you for
Awesome.
having me.
Bye, guys. Woo! We did some work today because that is how we roll. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love my BAM fam. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who you know would love it too. How can you support the show? Make sure you're subscribed, hit those 5 stars, and leave a review on iTunes and let me know how the podcast has impacted you. It truly means the world to me. I love being part of your real-time journey, so screenshot this episode and tag me and my guests on IG at Manifest with Ash. Say with me, I am my own power source. I am the master of my own energy. I deserve everything I desire. Now go get 'em.